I have learned over time that pain has a personality. It can take over completely, to either paralyze you in defeat, or propel you in strength, to a place where you find purpose. It could be the pain of a business loss, a relationship gone sour, a failed career, a failed marriage, or, in my case, a child buried too early. Whatever your pain is, you can choose how to allow that pain to determine the outcome of your life. Walk with me through my journey of how I have allowed my pain to grow into a purpose so amazing and glorious. Justin, Growing Through the Pain of Loss, is a real-life account worth reading. Get your copy from Amazon and other leading online retail bookstores.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us again this evening on the first episode of Through My Eyes, where we focus on technology. And we have a guest with us. We'll be introducing him very shortly. But first of all, I want to make you aware that we're live on YouTube, we're live on Facebook. If you get on my Twitter handle at Akinyemi, it's live on Twitter as well. And we're also live on Instagram. Please share this, invite your friends, let them know this is going on. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. today as we look at technology and we look at how technology is impacting us. Of course, you can ask your questions on these platforms as well. If you have any questions that you want to ask, please do go ahead and ask these questions, and I will put them across to our guest for today. So, without wasting much time, I'll go ahead and introduce our guest for tonight. He's a very good friend of mine as well, and we'll talk about how we got to that point. But I'll introduce him. I'll read his profile out here. We've got with us Mr. Jude Obiakor, who is the Group Managing Director for Fasyl Technology Group, and they operate across different countries in Africa. Jude, as we call him, is a business strategy and leadership expert. He's got over 20 years experience across multiple industries, banking, oil and gas, telecoms, FMCG, public sector. They work across all these sectors in his organization. Jude is a computer science graduate with an MBA from the Chinese Europe International Business School in Shanghai. He's got a management certificate in strategic innovation from Harvard University, a certificate in radical innovation from MIT Cambridge, and he's provided business transformation services to financial institutions, to governments across Africa, including the EcoBank Group in Nigeria, Nedbank in South Africa, the National Commercial Bank in Libya, and the Economic and Financial Crime Commission in Nigeria, just to name a few. So Jude has been across a lot of all these sectors. Jude Obiakor, you are welcome to the show this evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Akinyemi. It's been a long time.
Very
nice
long
to
time.
see you again. And then catching up
Absolutely.
on your platform. Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you for the opportunity to discuss technology in Africa as it
Absolutely.
pertains to the various industries and government. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. But Jude, there is a question that we have here. And the question is this: how did you get into technology?
Okay. So, it's interesting. I could say that even in my college, in a class of about 40, there were just about 2 of us that applied for computer science. But before that, growing up, we're 7 in my family, and I'm the number 4 or 5 because I'm a twin. So you don't get to decide which one you are,
We
depending
didn't
on where
know
you're coming
that.
from. So growing up, we didn't have the Lego that the kids have now. We didn't have those kind of games. However, I enjoyed puzzles. I enjoyed playing chess. I enjoyed dismantling my little toy and try to fix it back again. And of course, you'll never be able to. So if there's anything that related me to technology, maybe this was the science. However, while my mates wanted to study medicine and become or law, or become a lawyer, or become a pharmacist, just about 2 of us decided to go into something not quite familiar to everybody. And because of the mist around it, computer science, we decided to delve in. And again, we didn't regret it. Both of us are currently still in the industry. While he's in oil and gas, I am in software consulting. So, this is just in a nutshell how I get across here. And then, of course, you saw us, we met in Yabatech.
Yes,
where
great Yabatek.
yeah, where we read computer science for those number of years. Practically enjoyed it because we were exposed to the practicality of computer science. It wasn't theoretical. Those are the advantages that formed who we are when we graduated. While some of our colleagues from the other institutions were still struggling on how to write a Fortran or COBOL program. We already started writing it while in school. I can't forget that particular subject in our final year, which was the what you call survey of programming languages. Very interesting. I can't remember the name of the lecturer, but I think it was Fatoki. But however, I mean, it was an interesting subject. These are they are deep dive. They are what you can call deep dive now into programming, into computer science, and into technology. I mean, with the outcome of that 1 year program in a survey of programming languages, you come out enriched enough to face the society as at then, which is of course different from today. So I mean, this is how we came out as computer science graduates, and we're where we are today.
Absolutely, absolutely. But you touch on a very interesting point there, because looking back at that time, we had some very strict teachers, lecturers who made sure that they tried the best within the limited resources to get us what we needed. I remember people like Mrs. Odushote, Dr.
Yes,
Itegoje, who was then
yes,
later head of department. These are people
yes,
who drove technology at that level, and it helped us. It helped us become, like you say, who we are today. But
yeah,
there is a point here that I want to ask you, Jude. In 2019, Bloomberg released a report where they talked about the Yaba area, home of Yaba College of Technology and University of Lagos. They refer to this area as an upcoming technology ecosystem. And in 2013, there were about 10 startups in that area. But by 2019, when this report was out, that number had grown by 50. What do you think was responsible for that kind of jump?
yeah. I mean, is no gainsaying. Apparently, if you look at Massachusetts in Boston, it constitutes over 2050 universities. However, you'd also see that all the tech hubs are around there. Africa is late to some of these things, and that's why you see that it's only in 2019 that you see the tech hubs coming up in Yaba. Yaba has the best colleges and universities within Lagos State. It has the University of Lagos. It has the Yaba College of Technology. It has the Yaba Technical College, just behind Yaba Tech. It also has recently, on the last 10 years, Lagos State University extended their campus in Yaba. When you have educational settlements where they chunk out graduates every year, it is traditional for that environment to constitute tech hubs where you could quickly reach out to students that could do research works together with you. The tech hub don't have the liberty to have a laboratory where they could research, or a computer stretched room where that is fitted with all the various amenities. Some of these schools do have. So you see the tech hubs establishing very close to the institutions that made them, and that helps to sustain them a little bit. Looking at the challenge of infrastructure in of course in Africa and Nigeria, of course. So it's not strange. It's actually normal. And if you go from one country to the other, most tech hubs are established around the institutions and colleges where they enjoy the service and the resources that come out from those colleges and universities.
You raise a good point there. Are you starting to see? I know in some of the developed economies, we have organizations working with educational institutions on research. Is that starting to become a pattern in Nigeria as well, where business organizations will work with educational institutions to find
Universities
answers.
and colleges. Yes. So I mean, it's easier because you have final year students who want to go into research, and you have your own ill-equipped lab, which you could actually extend your research work to these students that have much larger research labs in their universities and their colleges. So you see this symbiotic relationship within them. Private sector tech hubs partnering with institutions to extend their research and get out a big, better result.
Wow. Wow. And while we're still on this tech hub questions and the number of startups we have in that area, are these businesses, do you see them as sustainable businesses going forward? Or is this just something that some people feel, hey, we can get our hands into this and see where it takes us? Or do you think some of these businesses are not really set up as really businesses that would last in the long run?
Yeah, I would tell you something. What we have always lacked in African universities is reorientating our graduates on to become entrepreneurs, to understand how to create employment instead of looking for employment. So you see these tech hubs as a result of, I could tell you clearly, was as a result of high unemployment rates. So these students decide to try their hand, come together as fresh new graduates into the industry, set up a tech hub, and try to develop something that could add value to the society. And that is the direction, and that is a good step in the perfect right direction. Now their future is they've not scratched the surface. They have a huge future ahead of them. If you look at this, that's a platform, piggy bank. Piggy bank is a bunch of young guys who came together and developed something that is a financial institution on your mobile. So it doesn't have any premises, a digital banking form. So I mean, this is an offshoot of some of these tech hubs. There are many more products that they are chunking out, many more valuable products, domestic valuable products. So what they do is that they look at the society, look at the gaps in the society, look at where they could add value in the society, and use technology to develop something that could match the domestic requirement. So if you ask me if it is sustainable, yes, it is sustainable. However, they need a lot of help. They need a lot of help from government. They need a lot of help from research institutions. And they need a lot of help from proper funding. The more you fund them, the more we formulate policies at government level. And maybe we'll talk about it again. The part government have to play in this, because for them to be sustainable, there are four cardinals. First is, do they have the future? Are there opportunities in that line? Yes, there are opportunities. Can they match the opportunities with what they have now in terms of funding? No, so they need funding. Do they have the right government policy to navigate them, to guide and insulate them from foreign consumption of softwares? No, they don't. So you need government, you need funding, you need research institution, and of course you need to provide them that future opportunity. So they have the future. You have the remaining three cardinal area for them to be able to stride and ride higher than any future they want to climb up to.
Interesting. One point there, in terms of, you talk about the quality of the software they churn out, dealing with local challenges, but is there still a perception issue in some of the African countries that you have worked in, where local software is still regarded as maybe not good quality?
Secondary.
Yeah.
Secondary, yeah. I mean, it exists all over the place. I mean, it's in if you let's take a step back a little bit. Let's do this. 5 years ago, if a young, or 10 years ago, if a young guy develops a payment software and goes to a financial institution in Kenya and offers this financial institution this payment software and say, look, this is going to help you extend payments to all your agricultural sectors, all your motor vehicle associations, all your nurses union, to enable them do contributions and all that. They're going to throw it out of the window. They're not going to accept it. They are not going to even give it a chance. If the same software comes from India, they are going to embrace it. They're going to give you a chance to demonstrate it and evaluate it. That is changing. That is changing. However, like I mentioned earlier, more has to be done in the area of encouraging government support. If government comes up with a suitable policy that builds a too big to fail software entity, software hub, too big to fail, provide enough framework that will guide the development, the production of software, and put enabling policy where only if a local software is and not suitable would you look for a foreign software. Those kind of singular statements and laws is what the industry needs to sustain it and get acceptance that you just asked for. So if I qualify it in the percentage terms, the acceptance have moved from less than 10% in the last 10 years to an accelerated 50 to 60% in 2019. And you still have a big room to play. We are looking for a future where a conglomerate, a Dangote is running an African developed software for one of its units or departments, not an ERP from Germany, not an ERP from India, not an ERP from America. Those softwares were not developed with Dangote in mind. They were not developed with Bua Group in mind. They were not developed for Kenya Railway in mind. They were developed for that market. So a typical African tech hub that is strong enough, supported by a good government framework and policy, will be able to produce something that is domestically suitable, fit for purpose, and that's the future. That's the absolutely way to go.
But Jude, someone might raise a point to say, why try to build your own sort of ERP system when there's already something on the market that does it?
I'll tell you something, and it's an interesting question, and I like that. Why does it take 2 years, 24 months to 36 months to implement an ERP in Africa? Why? Why can't we roll out an ERP in less than 12 months? Why can't we take a fit for purpose ERP, plug it into the department, run your various configurations, do your training, and cut over? Why take 4 years, 5 years to implement one ERP? It's reconfiguration and recustomization and retrofixing to ensure that it can fit, what domestic requirements are.
Got you. Now, one question I have here is this: your work takes you around different countries in Africa, as we've already highlighted. Are you seeing similar level of development when it comes to information technology in these other markets? Did you get that question? Oh, looks like we've got a technical problem there. Can you hear me, Jude?
Yeah, I can hear you. It was going up a little bit, but
Okay, let me ask the question again. I
Okay.
said this, that your work takes you around Africa. Are you
Yeah.
seeing similar levels of technology development across the different countries in Africa? I know that generally people talk about
Okay.
Nigeria as the giant, but do you see this in other countries as well?
So I mean, if you talk about, yeah, if you talk about technology advancement and development in Africa, you have to mention key areas. Kenya is doing extremely well, like they've always done, with payment systems. Kenya started payment system before the mobile money came about from telcos. Rwanda is very high. They've gone very far with e-commerce. Equatorial Guinea, Egypt has done extremely well. Even Ghana has all gone completely 100% online in most of their, and you could always say, look, it's as a result of certain changes, certain limitations, but look, it's a graduation. So just like in Nigeria, I could count about 4 or 5 other African countries that have accelerated their technology requirements and gone on, push their businesses online, put their businesses on the technology platforms. 10 years ago, some of these countries had a phobia for as simple as ATM, the use of ATM card. They had a phobia, but over the time, you could see they not only embrace ATM cards, they also embrace online payment systems, mobile payment systems. These are new trends that these African countries are embracing and seeing as a better opportunity to accelerate trade and increase transaction speeds, to conclude a simple business. So yes, the other countries in within Africa, like I mentioned, are also on the rise in using technology to run their business.
It's interesting, the one you mentioned in terms of Equatorial Guinea, because they are also doing some very good work in terms of positioning broadband. I think one of the major challenges, I mean, we're talking about this in the prep to this show. Broadband is still a challenge in Africa, across some of the African nations. And even though people are starting to work, the telcos are starting to work in this area. Let me ask you a question about that. Are the telcos doing enough to improve broadband capacity and to bring this to more people?
Okay. The network is really bad.
Oh, interesting. At the point we're talking about telcos.
Yes, honestly. And if you ask me if any, there's what are the challenges of technology in Africa, this is one huge one. One huge one. In doing these sessions or any of these work at home, you have to provide double backups for your comms. It is the same challenge from one African country to the other. So I see an opportunity still in Africa in this area, and there are so many more opportunities in Africa until we get a situation where we can have a 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hour session with uninterrupted communication. Then we know that we're getting somewhere. If we can raise our bandwidth expectation in such a way that, and you can easily pay for it. So it's not, you don't have to break your back to pay for communication. Some of the telecommunication companies, when they are doing their advert, you see them mention data is life, data is oxygen. I
Yeah.
mean, this is in Africa. Why would data be oxygen? You cannot say that if you're in America, if you're in Boston. Data is not oxygen in Boston. Data is as cheap as, you know.
Wow.
So, but we'll get
Wow.
there. I mean, we'll get there.
I, Are the telcos doing enough? Because I think Equatorial Guinea did something quite significant at the onset of COVID-19. They dropped the price of broadband and they increased capacity at the same
So
time.
yes, so yeah, in countries like Nigeria and Kenya, well, I mean, what the telcos did was they were focusing on revenue, increasing revenue. I mean, pandemic was for them. So you see, they increased their base stations, they increased their communication stations, only because they need to cover more. They sold more data to people because they knew people needed it to do business. Spy communication is a local communication in Nigeria. They went all out, employed field salespeople, and they were selling. So now, what you're selling is pushing about quadruple the number of people you had before into one network without increasing the network capacity. So you're increasing the network capacity is not matching, is not in synonymous with the number of new sales subscription you're making. So they got it right because they tried to match sales to service. But in some of the other countries, they didn't do that. And this is again a challenge over here.
Wow. I think we'll come back to that topic at some point in the future because it's quite important to get the infrastructure right. That's the base of digital transformation. But we'll come back to that
Absolutely.
another time. Let's move on to the issue of COVID-19 that has touched everyone across all the nations of the world. And it has affected, the way we work. What we knew to be work has now changed to be something else. Um, Given the fact that Africa was late to COVID-19, it started in Europe, Asia got this thing first. Do you think that African nations were slow to bring in technology measures to mitigate the impact of COVID-19?
If I get that correctly, if Africa was ready for the pandemic,
With
if I get your
technology
question.
solutions, yes. Yes, were
Oh,
they
okay.
ready with
So,
technology solutions?
so there's something about technology environment. So it is a traditional option of working from wherever you are once you have communication. So we didn't know the acronym from home, but at least we knew that you could work from anywhere. So it was only the technology entities that were having video conferencing calls with WebEx, with all manner of video conferencing technology. It wasn't as a result of anything other than they're in the technology space and they need to communicate. They do team viewer. You use team viewer to access another person's system and you get work done because you're in a project. So the coming of COVID-19 only matched technology behavior. That people had this similar behavior. They had that line of behavior of working from anywhere. So COVID-19 accelerated and took that behavior into the other sectors. So everybody found out overnight that they could actually work from wherever they are.
Mm.
It is, and then it brought up another challenge, which is how do you work from home? Because again, businesses can say we will work from home, but there's an inherent situation where how do you monitor work from home? So you see HR departments and companies started coming up with work from home policies, work from home monitoring tools, work from home appraisal processes, work from home objective setting. So it's a whole new horizon. So the pandemic have brought in a lot of changes. Some very, very good changes. We can never return back to normal. And some not so good, because again, if there's a death situation involved in this, then it's not so good. But if you remove the debt aspect, it has taught business that business can grow irrespective of contact management. You don't have to contact. You don't have to have a face-to-face meeting. You don't have to have an on-site implementation. You don't have to have an on-site installation. You don't have to have an on-site demonstration. You could demonstrate, you could meet, you could present from wherever you are, miles away. Now, the other flip of it is, it also taught business that business can actually still exist and meet a lot more customers from an online perspective. I mean, no doubt, most of the online businesses accelerated to quadruple their numbers in 100. Everybody's product is online. If you flip your Facebook, or you flip your WhatsApp, or you go to status, or you go to your Instagram, or you go to your Facebook, you see various products being advertised. And the good part, they not only advertise, they enable you purchase and make instant payment. It would interest you to know that 10 years ago, if you ask an average African, subscribe to a financial institution's mobile payment on your smartphone, your USSD phone, they will tell you no, because they have a phobia for such thing. They do not trust the security of their money. Now, today, if you don't have an online payment, with the social distance thingy, with the fact that you have to social distance yourself, with the fact that you have to reduce the number of times you go to an ATM, or the number of times you touch a simple POS, because for any device of this you touch, you expose yourself to COVID-19, coronavirus. So with that in mind, people were forced to go to their mobile, where it's a limited use. They use it only to themselves. They don't share that use. So you see the number of mobile payment accelerated in the numbers. A mobile payment transaction actually within Africa is over 100 million transactions in a month, compared to 10 million before this period. So
the question there, Jude, the question there is, and someone has just put a question in here on YouTube. With the kind of increase that you're talking about, there comes the security concerns. And of course, you work in financial services as well as with some of the work you do. It says, this person is saying, what are the steps we are taking in Africa to mitigate against intrusion or hackers in penetrating our infrastructure? How would you respond to that?
Yeah, so the thing is, the financial institutions have all also understood that they have to meet a certain standard. So once you're going to launch a payment system where your customers are going to subscribe through their mobile platform, you have to meet a certain standard. PSI DSS standard is a global security standard for payment system that insulates such intrusion. Then beyond that, in your domestic market, you provide your second level authentication, your token, either a soft token or a hard token. So these measures locally protects you and globally protects you. So you have lots of security checks that you're going to go through. First, you're able to get onto the platform, you go through a security check. Then secondly, you initiate a transaction payment. That transaction payment have to be authenticated by some code numbers, which is a 3 seconds expiration number, to enable you provide that secured access to your account and to that payment. So these measures have, at least to a large extent, secured wrong intrusion and hackers and attack in Africa. If you take that out, most situations, most theft situations have always happened because of ignorance. So when you give out some certain number that is only known to you, which your financial institution have advised you, don't ever give out your 3-digit number or your 4-digit number to any person. Somebody calls you on the phone, pretends to be who is not, and you give out your number, you expose yourself to risk. But again, even at that, when the transaction hits a certain limit, the financial institutions have made it in such a way that if the transaction hits a certain number, a certain limit, it sends you a message to your private mobile to ask you, if you are not the initiator of these transactions, please, you can just click this button or type this number or call this number, then we can stop it. That is another level of security. So
Have you
I could
seen
count at least, yeah.
have you seen a widespread adoption of those kind of security principles in some of the clients and countries you've worked in?
Yes, yes. It's available in Kenya. It's available in North Africa. It's available in South Africa, Nigeria. It's in Rwanda. In most financial institutions, PSI DSS is a global standard for payment and payment security standards first. So you conform to that standard, and then you go into your domestic market, and then you implement certain security level, like second level authentications, for either soft or hard token or both at the same time. And then you go into another level of security with your financial institution where you put a limit. Well, if you compromise yourself out of ignorance, you still have a limit to check to how much exposure you should have within a period of time, half a day, maybe a whole day. That's why if you use your payment token or your payment phone to make a purchase online, after a while it will stop because it is asking you that you've crossed the limit for the day. So these are various security levels I've experienced in the financial institutions that we've worked with in Africa, and it's a very encouraging thing for anybody getting to this level to quickly get to that level, because online payments is going to continue and is going to continue and growing.
So, in a sense, I think that's it's a good point to kind of dovetail into the next question here, which is, are organizations taking advantage of COVID-19 to really grow their technological base? You know, are they putting proper enterprise solutions in place, or are you seeing just short-term fixes that people are putting in place just waiting for this whole thing to blow over?
So I mean, if you had this question in May, I would have said yes. But here we are in August. People have come to realize, organizations, businesses, private sector, even government, come to realize that COVID-19 might go away, but this new approach to using technology to deliver their services and their products will not go away. Number one, it increased their revenue base, because once you can service your client, and I'll tell you something, before COVID-19, an average company in Africa runs an operational cost that is almost 60% of the entire revenue of the organization. Today, that operational cost has drastically reduced by a quarter of it, or even over half of it. Now, what does that tell you? It tells you that while I reduce my operational cost, I have increased my technology cost. But the ratio of increase of my technology cost is far lower than the operational cost I have reduced it to. So I would rather continue in this line of business. I won't mention the name of the institution in Nigeria that had a strategy session where they intend to increase the staff strength by over 40. Interviews have been conducted, but letters have not been issued. With the coming of COVID-19, when it slowed down this engagement from going out, it only resulted to work continued, and work even got better without the employment. So they had to go back to drawing board at the end of May to say, put a hold on this and even cancel it entirely. I could make reference to our group. Our group decided that specifically in our strategy session, end of year strategy session, to reduce the You know, in some countries like Nigeria, and of course in Kenya and in South Africa, office space is measured by square meter. If I'm
Mhm.
occupying a 500 square meter office or 1,000 square meters, in this era we are in, I'm occupying 200 square meter office because I don't need anybody to be in the office. So even if we're a technology firm where 80% of our staff are consultants and they are not resident in the office, they are in their various customer site and project offices and implementation rooms. We didn't need number of square meter to run a technology office. So it made companies reduce their operational costs, strategically take a stand that even after COVID-19, the trend will continue like this because it brought a higher increase in revenue.
But isn't that going to peak at some point?
Yes, we expect that maybe between now and the end of 2022, we could see another drift. But for today, for this end of from now till end of this year, we're going to keep running our businesses online, real time, operating from various technologies, gadgets, and still deliver service and trade and payments. And it will continue because there's a whole lot of advantage to it.
Can I ask
Now,
this
yeah,
question slightly differently? Because somebody, if you follow the money, right, is the
yeah,
investment we're seeing going into Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and all these other
Google
collaboration
Meet.
tools?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
is the investment actually creating jobs locally in the market? Is it creating new businesses in the market? Because a lot of these things are really easy to just buy online.
Yes. So, so I'll take it in bits. While it is not creating jobs, it is creating entrepreneurs. It is giving rise to startups, home startups. If I had to rent a 20 square meter outlet to sell my products, maybe shoes, maybe bags, and because of COVID-19, I am expected to be in a lockdown situation where I'm staying at home. But I have my products on my phone. All I need to do is to open an Instagram page, open a Facebook page, open a WhatsApp page status, and post my products and post the prices and give you a payment link and ask you anywhere you are, will deliver for you. So you see the number of delivery companies shooting up, entrepreneurship, opportunity, business. But if I had in that outlet 4 people working for me, it means that those 4 guys are out of job.
Yeah.
But I have also asked that I need 7 or 8 delivery bikes or delivery companies to engage. So while I increase business in one sector or in one area, I reduce opportunity for employment in the other. But again, I create an entrepreneurship because each of those persons that left my payroll goes into their own phone and reach out to larger public using their own pages, selling the same product and getting a commission payment instead of getting salary, which makes the person an entrepreneur and he can increase and reach out more, advertise more in a different manner. And I think for me, if we take COVID-19 in a very positive angle, we could actually reduce the unemployment state in Nigeria and create more entrepreneurs that could think out of the box.
Wow. Wow. Now, Let me go on to this next question here, which deals with um, Africa, the notion of corruption in Africa, and many conversations about Africa and investment would highlight corruption as a stumbling block. And secondly, when we talk about this sort of investments in Africa, people always think about foreign direct investment coming in. People are looking for some international organization to help that development process. Are you seeing local venture capitalists also putting money to develop Africa for money raised in Africa?
So you see, we don't need any PIs for such tech investments. You need local venture capitalists to support tech hubs and tech groups. You need government policy to support technology in Africa. You need government frameworks, technology frameworks support, orchestrated by private sector and implemented by government to actually save and encourage local African technology products. And I have said it earlier in this forum, if the government produces the right policies that can insulate technology companies from the threat of foreign software consumption. I mean, say Africa consumes over 50% of the software that come out of India. Africa itself have the brain, the knowledge to produce the same software. So it's a question of mindset. If you want to produce rice, you stop importation of rice. You encourage locals to make their mistake, fall, wake up, and get to standard. If you give them standard and framework to operate within a framework to operate, they would only meet it. If they don't meet it on the first day, they'll meet it on the second and the third and the fourth day. So it is the opportunity for them to even have a form where the policy would insulate them from foreign software and also give them a framework where they can standardize their production of software product and technology. That's how we
are you seeing such frameworks being developed in the different nations across Africa?
Yes, those frameworks were developed in India. If you look at India technology framework, it's out of this world. It's superb. Germans have their own software technology framework. The Russians have. The Americans have. So Africa needs its own technology framework. You could start from various countries and then later come together if it works for us. Because if you don't do that, the overdependencies on even the foreign technologies is a risk in its own. A shutdown of one of these technology companies globally will shut down one arm of your government. Have you thought about that? That's what we're saying.
Wow. All right. There's actually a lot there that I could pick up on, but we're running out of time very quickly here. It's been such an interesting time listening to you speak on some of these points. All right. As we start to wrap up here, and before we leave this point on frameworks, are there some specific frameworks? I know you are involved in some of this that you want to touch on as to what exactly is in that framework that you would want the government to support.
So you see, first is government makes a simple policy that before you look for a simple accounting software outside, you must have exhausted any opportunity of accounting software in the country or in the continent. you start with basics. You could start with document software, document management softwares. You might not want to jump straight into a enterprise ERP software. It is the starting. It is the starting that leads to the future. If you don't start with a simple policy and test the water, remember during one of these African countries, the government, the then government woke up one day and said, you know what, I don't want orange juice imported into my country. It gave rise to domestic production of turning simple orange fruit to juice. And it created tons of jobs for that country. It created huge opportunity for employment. So dovetail the same thing to software and technology. We might not go into hardware manufacturing, but you could start with hardware assembly, just like some of the companies in Nigeria did. Some companies have started assembling disassembled laptops in Nigeria. In Kenya, there are tech software companies that can produce software that is equally standard, that can meet any global competition and match even be better than the foreign software that come from India or any other part of the world. So it is the policy that says, first, I understand the local software, explore the local software, support it and encourage it. Such policy is number one. Then you go to designing first a framework for software development. The framework will be designed by private sector partnership with government. The framework that says you need a certain size of lab, you need this number of people, you need this size of funding, you need this level of testing to happen. You need to put a benchmark result. If it is going to be a payment software, you need to put a transaction speed benchmark. So when all these results come out, you put it in a framework. When you meet all these standards, then you can go ahead and start producing local software. And from that framework, we begin to see ourselves having a standard software that can compete in any global stage. So
we've got 3 minutes to go, Jude. We've got just under 3 minutes to go. If you had any sort of parting words in terms of where you would advise someone who just wants to start out here investing in Africa, where would you tell them to put their money?
Communication.
Why?
So, like, a simple example is between you and I, we're using 2-3 backups just to have one hour call or one hour session. Give me a communication service that is reliable, 24/7, and we don't have to have hiccup in between just a 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 hour. So you have a mileage of opportunity there. When you put a strong communication and infrastructure investment in Nigeria, in Kenya, in South Africa, in Egypt, in Nairobi, in Rwanda, it would encourage even more tech hubs to produce software. If you look at the behavior of our business with the advent of GSM, compared to our business before GSM. So imagine if GSM is a communication guideline or a communication system. Imagine if you improve that communication, if you put more comms around the business, what is happening to the industry, the population, the society. So any foreign investor that is coming to Africa should try to have the epileptic communication services, should try to invest in infrastructural services that enables technology platform to run on. That is the one good area of investment that will be suitable for Africa.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Obiakor, for joining us today. It's been a pleasure listening to your wealth of experience across the different sectors there. And to our viewers, subscribe, like, share this information out there. There will be a lot more sessions coming in the future on technology and on other industry areas as well. So thank you very much for joining us this evening, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you.
Have dreams that you would love to see fulfilled? Then, Desire to Destiny is for you. Hopes are dashed, and people are left frustrated and disappointed because they rely solely on willpower and hard work to get them to their desired destinations. Desire to Destiny is a practical 30-day guide that teaches key success strategies from God's Word that, if applied, will take you from the first step of identifying the true desires of your heart through to experiencing the full manifestation. From the pages of this book, you will learn about topics like the art of meditation, learning to unlearn, the true cost of offense, the strength to walk away, and much more. Get started on this exciting devotional journey and watch great things happen in your life. Get your copy today. Don't miss the opportunity.